The pact between, our proposed pact between North Canton, Canton, Plain Township, and Jackson Township, when the meeting occurred, I interviewed you, and I still have that to pull out.
Right. I still believe
you were very enthusiastic.
I'm still very enthusiastic,
but your mayor isn't. So what's going to happen with that?
I agreed with him to hire an attorney out of Bricker and Eichler out of Columbus. Nice young, well, she's not young, but she's a nice lady. Her experience, she was in-house counsel for Wendy's. She served on jobs with Darrell committee. She's a very bright woman. She's reviewing it, and like she even said in the meeting that I had with her and the mayor and the director and the law director, she says hostile annexations are a thing in the past. To go out and annex, it's almost impossible. I said to the mayor, we've had 8 years between the last proposal and this one. What have we annexed? The area in question, we couldn't annex anyway. We're precluded by the railroad track. We're precluded geographically from getting in there. But more importantly, this does not bring a windfall of money to the city. I'd be the first to admit a few $1,000s, but it brings us back to the table with the cooperation of both Jackson, Plain, and Canton. In order, as the state erodes away all these different revenue funds, we need a lifesaver out there. We need somebody that we can sit down and say, hey, maybe we ought to look at one fire department. Maybe we better look at one police department. Maybe we look at one street vac that costs $650,000. Let us rent the driver and the equipment. It's a whole lot cheaper.
Now, I understand that you're with the city of North Canton, but one of the people that I talk to on an ongoing basis that I think has the pulse of the average citizen at hand said, well, from the township standpoint, the citizen pays their property tax. But then, under this arrangement, under a JED, they end up paying some income tax.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they would under only if they elect to come into the JED.
Right. But so in fact, that's a tax increase to some citizens out in the townships.
Right. And here's the thing. This was my proposal. How do you go to a resident in the township or business owner? We'd much rather have businesses than rooftops who are paying almost the same millage or less than they are to the city of North Canton, receiving excellent fire, police, and ambulance service, EMS service, equal to what we have, and then say to them, well, we're going to annex you in, but you're going to pay a 1.5% income. What are you going to give me for it? I mean, that's my argument with Chuck. Chuck says these people don't want to end, they don't want to leave the township. Well, how can you annex them now? What are you going to say to them? Right. The annexation, we used to be able to give them water. You got Aqua on the west, you got Canton on the south. I mean, these are people kind of like somebody that needs something. Aqua, they're a publicly traded company. They'll gobble everything they can get. And as we sit around and box ourselves in, we have to continue to raise our fees, our water rates, our sewer rates, because in order to feed our own self. And now we're not competitive anymore. And we have no lifelines out there. We've just alienated everybody.
Well, what's your sense of where North Canton is going to come out on this? Because I had a conversation with Louis Geovasis, that is trustee over in Plain Township.
Yes.
And this is probably in the last week or so.
Right.
He said, now I'm paraphrasing, but he says North Canton needs to get off their duff. My question to you is, North Canton going to get off the duff?
Next Monday night, it's up for a vote.
Okay.
I mean,
how's it going to turn out?
Well, it's tenuous at best. It looks like it has sufficient votes. I mean, it might run into a veto to the mayor.
Right. What happens then?
Well, then you need 5 votes to override his veto.
You're going to have them?
Today I do.
Okay.
I don't know about next Monday night.
Okay.
It changes with the time. I mean, the sad thing is, what bothers me is, I sat and I have a high regard for both Lou and Randy Gonzalez and their board of trustees. I mean, we snubbed them once before. They brought us to the dance and we said we don't want to play.
How many years ago was
that? That was 2005.
Okay.
And we spent $235,000 trying to chase our tail. And now The same guy who said it was bad then told me on the phone that it's not a bad deal because you're not providing any services. I mean, we're not providing anything. We've just been brought along. I mean, it's a defined area. I mean, we couldn't get any of that property if we wanted it. I couldn't go out there today and say, I'll tell you what, no income tax, don't pay for your water, nothing. Come into the city. Well, they couldn't. We couldn't. We're precluded. We're not contiguous, nor can we get there. We had a identified business that was willing to come in, and one of our citizens elected to blow him all over the map, and now the guy says, I don't need you. To answer your question, he said, what do I need you guys for? I can operate in Jackson and be perfectly content. So it's not a windfall of money. It's just opening the doors for cooperation.
Kind of setting the tone.
Absolutely.
For local governments to come together.
You can't be parochial anymore. I mean, the best example of true, transparent government, go to the Board of Commissioners, which I know you do every Wednesday. There you have 3 diverse people, 2 different philosophies politically, but when they sit in that chair, they're like a priest. They forgot everything else. They're doing their job. They're doing what's best for the county. That's what my job is. That's what Lou Giovassis and his board, and Randy Gonzalez and his board. And Mayor Healy, believe it or not, Mayor Healy is cooperating.
Well, I'm sure he'll be glad to hear that from North Canton Council President John Snyder.
I know he's cooperating. You know, he knows though. He's a bright guy. He knows where the future's at. He knows that you better be on the side. You say to the people, hey, he knows where. I mean, taxing's not Christianity. You run out of ways to tax people. There's just not enough.